At the very start of this war, Trump made one thing clear: unconditional surrender from Iran. That phrase isn't vague, it has very specific meaning. It's what happened at the end of World War II when Germany and Japan formally surrendered, agreeing to never attack the United States again and effectively hand over control of their future. That was the standard, that was the goal. But within days, that goal disappeared. The administration couldn't clearly explain what the objective even was anymore. And then something happened that changed everything. Iran responded by closing the Strait of Hormuz, a move that shut down 20% of the world's oil supply, along with critical global shipments. The possibility of Iran closing the strait is a decades-old, well-known scenario in US military planning and has been war-gamed on numerous occasions. It is something Iran has explicitly threatened many times. Despite this, the US seemed to have had no plan in place as to how to deal with this when it actually happened. During a Pentagon briefing, Defense Secretary Hegseth said, "It's something we're dealing with. We have been dealing with, and you don't need to worry about it."
And as the world is seeing, they are exercising sheer desperation in the Straits of Hormuz. Something we're dealing with, we have been dealing with it, and don't need to worry about it.
He also said that the only thing prohibiting transit in the Straits right now is that Iran is shooting at shipping. It is open for transit should Iran not do that. Hardly what you might call reassuring. It begs the question also as to why Iran was shooting in the first place. Suddenly, the mission changed. Now the goal wasn't unconditional surrender, it was simply this: reopen the Strait of Hormuz, the same strait that was only closed because of the war itself. Trump escalated. He issued deadline after deadline, threatening to obliterate Iran if the strait wasn't reopened. At one point, he even threatened to destroy power plants, oil fields, and desalination infrastructure, which are civilian systems and would be considered a war crime. And he said he would do it immediately. But those deadlines came and went. Nothing happened. And on Wall Street, they've even coined a term for it: TACO. Trump always chickens out. And according to market analysts, that's exactly what happened every single time. The imposition of these deadlines by Trump and the subsequent climb down nonetheless created major shifts in the stock market. The emergence of patterned trading has pointed towards stock manipulation by persons unknown and is now under investigation. Then at yesterday's press conference, when asked if reopening the strait was still a key objective, the Defense Secretary didn't answer at all.
Is opening the strait an essential objective to Operation Epic Fury, or is that the job of those other countries?
Well, first on the Strait of Hormuz, our core objectives from this podium, from day one, from me, from the chairman, from the president, from the vice president, from Secretary Rubio and others have been clear. Defense missile production and missile programs, so their entire missile program, defense industrial base and production ability to build, and Navy and power projection. So those have, and then of course, wrapping it all is Iran's never going to have a nuclear weapon. So those have been very clear.
And behind the scenes, reports started leaking. Trump was preparing to end the war. At the same press conference, Hegseth said the Trump administration had achieved regime change in Iran.
This new regime, because regime change has occurred.
Regime change is not just changing the leader, it also involves a broader shift in power, policies, or political structure. Examples of regime change are the French Revolution 1789, the Egyptian Revolution in 2011, or indeed the Iranian Revolution in 1979. Since the war started with Iran, there has been no shift in power, no change in policies or political structure. There has been a change in leadership, and that has replaced one Ayatollah with another Ayatollah. So while Hegseth and Trump tried to paint the picture as a regime change, the facts show that nothing like that has taken place. Then came the moment. Speaking to reporters, Trump said that the US would be leaving soon, and that protecting this strait would be somebody else's problem.
The US will be gone or done with the war in 2 or 3
I think with
weeks?
2 or 3 weeks,
Not 3 weeks, if it is
we'll
3
leave.
weeks.
We have nothing to do with that. What happens to the strait, we're not going to have anything to do with it.
In other words, the central objective of the war was abandoned. Let's be clear, the strait will reopen, but because the war is ending. The very war that caused it to close in the first place. There was also a lot of speculation about a ground invasion, but the numbers never made sense. 50,000 troops were mentioned, but Iran has a population of over 90 million and covers an area of over 600,000 miles. So those troop numbers were nowhere near enough to achieve anything in the way of a land invasion, as tens of thousands more troops would have been needed to support such an operation. Even Trump knew that, the Pentagon knew it, and no doubt Iran did also. These troop movements were more signal than strategy. Let's go back to the original justification. That was that Iran would never be allowed to develop nuclear weapons. Now that's gone too. Trump now says maybe, years from now, another president will deal with it. That's not a victory. That's kicking the problem down the road.
I had one goal. They will have no nuclear weapon. And that goal has been attained. They will not have nuclear weapons. They will not be able to do a nuclear weapon for years. And when they are ready, maybe in a long time from now, able to do a nuclear weapon, you'll have a president that will be like me and that he will go there and he'll knock the hell out of them again.
So where does this leave us? No regime change, no nuclear agreement, no strategic gain. Just a war that has brought death and destruction to a huge part of the Middle East and ending with nothing achieved. And here's the irony. Years ago, a deal already existed, negotiated by John Kerry under President Obama. Iran agreed in writing to limit its nuclear program. The deal had global backing from France, the UK, Germany, China, and even Russia. And it worked to some degree, until Trump tore it up. Trump has said on many occasions that no deal is better than a bad deal regarding how nations work with Iran regarding their nuclear ambitions. I think it's only fair to say that any deal is better than the war of choice that the Trump administration has visited upon us. It's worth keeping in mind that if Trump were to end the war tomorrow, that Iran still has significant leverage, and ending it on Trump's terms might not be what happens. Now, after all this, the markets are down, oil is unstable, and the war is ending without results. Even Trump himself admitted, when asked about Iran's uranium stockpile, "I don't even think about it." From unconditional surrender to "I don't even think about it," that's the full arc of this war. And later tonight, we may hear how the whole thing was someone else's fault and now is somebody else's responsibility. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.